Greetings in the name of the Most High Rastafari. This is Sigil Chandran, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. And if you want to get formal information for Frederick and Edition, we talk the thing unfiltered. People, again myself, people that say you do that to your own self, yes. I'm speaking like this because Saturday I watched and I sat down between the draft of the clothes on my phone. I ended up getting a little cold, so it has affected my voice. So I hope that you all are hearing me properly. But time and tide waits on no one, and the beat must go on, the music must go on, the song must go on. So I'm here today again, after the Most High John, the ancestors and mother, to bring you another edition of Levita, the thing unfiltered. So, we have a program here. I hope you all hear me properly. You all will let me know. So let me start with the anthem. We must have the pledge.
I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I will honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, and my elders, and those in authority. I will be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. I will strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country.
We must remember the first peoples of Trinidad and Tobago. And as we get ready to celebrate African Emancipation Day, I bring you some more history of our people.
This is a part of history that should not be forgotten. Welcome back to Unforgotten, where we spotlight African stories that were erased, overlooked, or rarely told. Today we speak on Nihanda Nyakasikano, a woman whose authority terrified the British and whose execution was meant to silence the people. This is her story. In the late 19th century, the land that is now Zimbabwe was being violently transformed. The British South Africa Company, operating under Cecil Rhodes, was seizing fertile land, forcing African communities onto reserves and introducing new taxes that compelled men into colonial labor. This was not negotiation, it was dispossession. And for Shona people, power was not only held by chiefs or warriors, it was held by spirit mediums. mediums, women and men who carried ancestral authority and guided political decision-making. Among them, Nhanda Nyakisikana was one of the most influential. She was not a preacher of abstraction. She was a mobilizer. When land was taken, cattle seized, and labor demanded, Nhanda's voice carried weight. She advised resistance, sanctioned action, and helped coordinate what became the first Chimurenga, a widespread uprising against British colonial rule beginning in 1896. This resistance was organized. It targeted colonial farms, outposts, and symbols of authority. It spread across regions, unsettling British control and exposing how fragile their hold really was. Colonial officials quickly identified Nhanda as dangerous, not because she carried weapons, but because she carried legitimacy. When a British official named Pollard was killed during the uprising, the colonial state seized its opportunity. Nhanda was arrested and charged with murder, despite the lack of evidence linking her directly to the act. The trial was never about justice. It was about demonstration. And in the year 1898, Nhanda Nyakisikana was executed by hanging. The British believed that killing her publicly would break the spirit of resistance, that removing a woman with such influence would end the uprising at its root. But before her death, Nyanda is remembered for a prophecy that would outlive her execution, a line that would echo through Zimbabwean history: "My bones will rise again." At the time, the British dismissed it as superstition. They believed her death would break resistance. They were wrong, and history answered her. Nearly 80 years later, during the Second Chimurenga, the liberation struggle that led to Zimbabwe's independence in 1980, Nhanda's name was invoked by freedom fighters as a symbol of unfinished resistance. Her words became a reminder that colonial domination was temporary, not permanent. Nhanda Nyakisikana forces us to confront a truth colonial histories avoid. Women were not only participants in resistance, they were its anchors. And when belief, land, and political authority converge in one woman, empire responded with execution. Her death was meant to erase her, but instead, it preserved her. This is Unforgotten, preserving African culture and heritage, one story at a time. Make sure you follow us for more at All Things Africa.
I want to thank all those who would send me videos that I think would be interesting or articles. Thank you all so much. I may not get back to you and say thank you, but I do appreciate and thank you. And to all those I don't respond to when they send me messages, so it's not that I don't want to. Sometimes time don't permit. So I thank you all for all the messages, all the support, all the love, and all the videos that you think that are important to me. Thank you so much.
When people think of African fabrics, they usually name these two, Ankara and Kente, and that's honestly a problem because while those textiles are incredible, they represent only a tiny fraction of Africa's textile heritage. Across the continent are fabrics so extraordinary that many people, even Africans, have never heard of them. Some are made from tree bark, some are painted with mud, some take months to weave entirely by hand, and each one tells a story that deserves to be remembered. Let's take a journey across Africa. Our first stop is Uganda. Long before factories produced fabric, the Baganda people were making cloth from something most people would never imagine: tree bark, specifically the bark of the motuba tree. Artisans carefully remove the bark without harming the tree, then soak and beat it for hours until it transforms into a soft, rich brown textile. This tradition is more than 700 years old. In fact, UNESCO has recognized Ugandan bark cloth as part of humanity's intangible cultural heritage. Now, let's travel west to Mali. At first glance, Bogolanfini looks like a beautiful black and white pattern fabric, but what makes it remarkable isn't just how it looks, it's how it's made. The cloth is first dyed using natural plants, then artisans painted by hand using fermented river mud. For generations, this fabric has communicated identity before a single word was spoken. Next, we arrive in southeastern Nigeria, home to Akwete cloth. For centuries, women in the town of Akwete have woven intricate textiles on traditional looms, creating bold, geometric patterns with extraordinary precision. These aren't simply fabrics, they're living archives of culture. Our final stop is Burkina Faso. Here, you'll find Faso Danfani, a beautiful hand-woven cotton fabric that became much more than clothing. It became a symbol of national pride. Former President Thomas Sankara encouraged Burkina-based citizens to wear locally woven textiles instead of imported fabrics. Not because imported fabrics lacked beauty, but because supporting local artisans meant protecting culture, creating jobs, and investing in African craftsmanship. These fabrics remind us that Africa's contribution to fashion fashion didn't begin with today's designers. It began centuries ago. Luxury isn't only defined by famous fashion houses or recognizable logos. Sometimes luxury is measured by heritage, by craftsmanship, by the generations of knowledge woven into every piece. And this is why we're building Kesaruva, not just as a shopping app, but as a platform where African designers, artisans, and brands can share their craftsmanship with the world. If you love learning about African fashion and culture, like this video, share it with someone who needs to see it, and follow for more stories celebrating Africa's incredible fashion heritage. And if you'd like to shop directly from amazing African and Black-owned fashion brands, join the shopping waitlist through the link in our bio because we're launching the Kesaruva app this summer. Let's make African craftsmanship impossible to overlook.
Beautiful, beautiful. People get involved and seeing how best we can continue the tradition of our ancestors. I hope you all hear me properly. I can't speak louder than this. I'm going on to some more of Africa.
Whilst only surviving nonuplets, 9 children born at once are getting ready to start school. Their parents Halima Sise and Abdelkader Arbe celebrated the children's 5th birthday at home in Mali on 4th May 2026. The siblings, 5 girls and 4 boys, are not just a large family. They hold a Guinness World Record as the only set of nonuplets ever to survive. The family has shared birthday photos and the moment has brought admiration from across the world. Their story began as a medical marvel. In May 2021, Halima gave birth 30 weeks prematurely in Casablanca, Morocco via cesarean section. Each baby weighed between 0.5 and 1 kg. Doctors were not sure they would all make it. Now, they are growing steadily and are in good health. After their birth, they spent the first 19 months in Morocco receiving proper medical care before the family returned to their home country, Mali. Halima told Guinness World Records on the 5th birthday that the children are healthy and joyful. That is something few thought possible when they were born. The birth continues to draw global attention, not just because of the number of babies, but because every single one survived and kept growing. The girls are Khadidia, Fatuma, Hawa, Adama, and Omu, while the boys are Mohammed, Umar, El Haji, and Ba. Despite the global spotlight, life at home is normal. They are active, playful, and now preparing for their first day of school. Their mother described this as an important and exciting step, saying the children are very united and they care for each other. She also gave insight into their uniqueness, with each having a different personality. In her words, some are energetic, others are calm. For Mali, their nonuplets are a source of pride. For medicine, they are a rare case that rewrote what is possible in multiple births. For the family, each milestone in the children's growth is a new chapter with a big change.
We here on we told the thing and Bunks Up Central, we wish these babies the best. Let me tell you, there's a whole school. There's a whole school. Them little aunties and them, they want no more training. Them 9 is a whole school. And it's so good to see that they are healthy and doing well and look well adjusted. So let we continue the continues. People listen to this carefully.
Nowadays, people don't defend what's right. They defend the people they like and the ones they benefit from. Truth has become less important than popularity, influence, and personal interest. Don't expect everyone to stand with you just because you're right. Many will choose comfort over honesty and loyalty over justice. But don't let that change who you are. Your character isn't measured by how many people agree with you. It's measured by whether you stand by your principles when it's difficult. Stay honest when lies are easier. Stay fair when others play favorites. In a world where many follow the crowd, have the courage to stand for what's right, even if you have to stand alone.
Are some of us prepared to stand alone to speak in the truth? As I put up somewhere, I prefer to be disliked for telling the truth than to be loved for telling lies. I'm saying it again. I prefer to be disliked by others for telling the truth than to be liked or loved for lying. So let me continue. Listen to this.
I believe that perfection is unattainable, but that doesn't stop us trying. And we should constantly be evolving, redefining, refining, predicting, analyzing, adapting to whatever the world throws at us, and in harmony with that world. And if one is passionate and committed in the noble pursuit of excellence within their chosen field, be that the arts, technology, science, humanitarianism, conservationism, then I would say one has a moral obligation and an ethical duty to be of service and to always strive to be part of the solution and not the problem. After all, it's a world that our children would inherit.
Yeah. Listen to this also.
I believe that perfection is unattainable, but that doesn't stop us trying.
My mistake. Sorry about that. Is this one already put up?
You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. It may even be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, how you can rely upon yourself, where you can pull yourself up from.
Wise word there from our departed mother, sister, motivational speaker, artist, and so much more, Miss Maya Angelou. So when we continue, it continues. Listen to this. Let me tell you, Calypso is how our stories are told, not in Trinidad and Tobago, but all persons of African descent. Listen to this.
How do you feel about actually winning the presidency?
I am shocked.
Why are you shocked?
I'm shocked because I didn't know it was coming. I wanted it, but I didn't know.
So tell me about the level of preparation that went into actually getting to this moment.
I prepared multiple times. I rehearsed a lot of times. I rehearsed everything out of me until I felt drained to the point where I could not wake up. So to have this is really a blessing from God.
How do you plan to celebrate?
I plan to celebrate by going home and sleeping and not waking up in the morning until 10 o'clock.
Did you have a hand in helping your mother? Sorry, having created the song?
I would say yes, please.
Did you actually watch the election campaign as you said in the song?
Yes, I did.
What do you like about elections?
The fact that there are different people, they're leaders, and they're people that have sense in this society, that warms my heart.
You would have cultural exchanges in big cities. PM in this country. I would perfect one. What's all that's wrong and prove to you that I am big and strong. Just like you be embodied. I am big and strong.
Bajan youth Calypso King, I think it is. And he speaks so with so much clarity and so much assurance. The art form is in the right hands, whether Trinidad and Tobago, once it's in the Caribbean. You all remember Silver Stars and the incident that happened after the tribe ban launch, where persons were beaten, they were jailed, they were arrested and jailed, and Pancho and Bago had to get involved with parents, everybody, they were from Silver Stars. And it was being portrayed, it's alleged, that the altercation started with the players in Silver Stars, from what I was reading. Listen to the youth who they're saying was involved in this incident.
Hi, my name is Aquila Pereira, and I'm a tenor pan player for Silver Star Steel Push. I've been playing pan since I was around 4 years old. My brother, Aaron Pereira, was the first ever captain for St. Margaret's Boys Steel Orchestra. Growing up, I always used to admire what he did and look up to him, so I said as soon as I joined the school, I'll join the Steel Orchestra, and that's what I did. 2018, if I remember correctly. That was just as I graduated out of high school. One of my peers, Keon Batiste, he came around to all of us who used to play in St. Margaret's Boys Steel Orchestra, and he let us know it have a state band there, a large band that looking for players, street players, nice. We just flocked towards it. Ever since we came, we stayed. We love it here. My role within the band currently, I am given the opportunity to arrange songs for the stage side. Whenever the captain requests a song, I'll go and put pen to paper and paper to pan. So currently, I am a father of 2 beautiful, loving children. I am in pursuit of joining the regiment, and also I am an arranger for the National Steel Pan Panorama Competition. I arrange for single pan category, and I'm also in pursuit of more steel orchestras to arrange for. I am very much interested in martial arts, exercise, fitness. The performance for World Steel Pan Day, we were all allowed to solo, just being able to express myself throughout the improvisation and feel comfortable with myself afterwards. That was very nice. Survive is a song that's always been there to me, close to my heart. It's one of my mother's favorite songs. When I joined the pan side after her death, being able to play that was always amazing to me. I would say the main goal is to leave a legacy behind, make an impact on music and steel pan in the country. Since I was small, I've always dreamt of being an arranger and winning the national panorama competition.
Until the very end of we days. Take me home.
They got funding from Steel Pan to the tune of how much $1 million? That's what the new chairman of NGC said. They cut money from track and field. Ain't that something? I'm going to play this, and I want you all to tell me if you ever was in a conversation with a friend or a person like this, that what they start off talking about is not even what they end up talking about, and you just be like left amazed. Listen to this, I was very amused. You may know it's a video from Gerard Nurse, one of our leading gospel singers. I hope you don't mind me using it. It was on Facebook. I think it's very funny and very instructive too when you're dealing with people. Take a listen.
You ready?
Yeah, ready.
You tell me to start?
Yeah, start. One time, yeah.
No?
Yeah, no. Watch it.
Still start now?
Yeah, no.
Alright.
Make way for my government, make way for we parliament, make way, cause BCS are going home to stay.
What mean by that?
Make way for we senator, make way for we legislator, make way, cause BCS are going home to stay. Don't study them, watch, 250 years, watch, look at, celebrated, watch, we celebrated. We talking about Sharama's integration, joining together. The CCJ and them,
yeah.
We controlling that. We talk about
that's what they're celebrating there?
Yeah, yeah.
Let me see. Let me try to read it from here. But they're saying something about the United States though. Let me read it. Historic milestone coming up as IBSS is a toast to the United States. Charge the, I don't know this word, but it's like French. Charge the,
you see,
I don't know. Colonel
Philip,
left the Minister of Foreign
the peace pronounced F.
Affairs, Sean Sobers at a reception celebrating the 250th anniversary of the independence of the United States of America. This is America.
But we talk about
at the Hyatt.
We talking about
Sharama's
integration now.
This is not this.
I know that not.
I know if I know this. What is this word here? But I don't know this word here. You know it? Chargé is French. Tell me the word now. You seen it? I don't know. You gonna know it.
But everything with the Shagaramas thing, we don't
That have nothing to do with Shagaramas.
We don't do with Shagaramas. Well,
No.
let me close it up.
So when you're celebrating, so all that drink, you're drinking it for nothing, you're drinking for the wrong thing.
It's one car I drink, what that could it to be? That got nothing for me. I just showing you, I sing this song, it's really the song I talking about.
But you say this is Shagaramas we're celebrating.
Well, I celebrating Shagaramas treaty where they passed.
They
right
say
now.
250 years,
They're
but it's
for
not
America, they're not for Trinidad.
But yes, so where are celebrating first? Where are you drinking for?
I'm drinking for this, I'm drinking for Shagaramas new treaty.
But you say that this was Shagaramas.
That not Shagaramas, look, but and you read it and see what it says, and you can understand French.
Read it for me now, that this thing is...
Let me do the movie quick now, man, you wasting my time, by.
Come now, this word right here, charge.
Spell it, spell it.
It's French.
Spell it. The P is spelled on F. C. The P is spelled on F. The first word, that's a syllable. What A-E-I-O-U? N-A-E-I-O is a syllable?
Vowels.
Well, the vowels, I mean. Anytime the P come in front, you have to pronounce that F.
Where we seen a P here?
You have to pronounce that F is French.
This might be charged.
But somebody not gonna talk to you now. Like you
so you're vexing with it?
No, I'm vexed with it. I'm just telling you what it is.
But you don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I'm telling you the P in front.
Just look at it and you pronounce it the right way.
But right now, I'm studying that now.
So we are celebrating because you call me to celebrate this at here, drinking. But you say they Shagaramas, but in the United States.
I bring in the 2-in-1 here. Let me see, I make a mistake and I bring in the 2-in-1. But that is America 250 years anniversary for the independence. This one here, but the one with Shagaramas treaty.
So where you pull out this for?
Well, I build that first.
I go watch over the video and see. I go watch it over now.
Go watch it over.
Yeah, but now, Papi, you take the cake. Papi, you take the cake. I'm not able. Papi, you take the cake. Anyway, after laughter, the face tears. After joy, sorrow. Some sad news coming out of Tobago. Let me get the picture here. Look on the table now. She fed Tobago and shared its flavor with the world. Strawberry icon Miss Trim dies at 90. So I saw this in Trinidad. It says, Tobago is mourning the loss of one of the women who helped turn the island food into a part of its identity. Greater Miss Trim, the beloved Strawberry culinary icon, has died at the age of 90. Through Miss Trim's food, she became known for serving traditional Tobago favorites, especially crab and dumpling, to generations of locals and visitors. But her legacy was about far more than food. Miss Trim was remembered as someone who fed people even when they could not afford to pay. For many, her stall was not just a place to buy a meal, it was a place of warmth, generosity, and community. Her work also helped make Strawberry cuisine part of Tobago's tourism story. Visitors came to the beach, but many left remembering the flavors, conversation, and hospitality they experienced from women like Miss Trim. Tobago West MP Joel Sampson described her as a force of nature, whose influence reached through the family, her community, and generations of people who passed through Strawberry. At 90, Miss Trim leaves behind a legacy few businesses can claim. She helped feed the community, preserve Tobago's culinary traditions, and share the island's flavor with the world. Her passing is not only a loss for her family, it is a loss for Strawberry, Tobago food culture, and everyone who believes that a meal can carry history, love, and identity. What is your favorite memory of Miss Trim or her food and Strawberry? That is what they're asking, and they tell people to share the story. So to the family of Miss Trim, coming from, we talk the thing Unfiltered and Bounce Up Central, and our family and friends, we want to wish the family of Miss Trim, we send our condolences to them and hope that they remember the good times and not just dwell on her passing. She lived, based on what I read here, a full life. Be thankful what you had with her. Again, condolences to the family. So let me continue. Well, people, this weekend was about football. This weekend was about football, only football fanatics and lovers and everybody. Me invest with nobody. Because why lover does go behind? I love to watch one of the series. I will sit down and watch one episode after one whole day till night. So I understand the thing, right? It may not be the best analogy. Anyway, I understand the thing. So football this weekend, Saturday was France and I think England. And that is a whole next story by itself. On Sunday was Spain and Argentina. But before I get to that, a little more history of Argentina. Because since something would have sparked that renewal about people speaking about Argentina and the way that people of African descent have been basically removed from that society, and it has been where years and years of Europeans coming to live there, they would have whitened, for want of a better word, the population of Argentina. So listen to some more on Argentina.
In 1800, about a third of Buenos Aires was black. And by 1875, the Argentine government had stopped counting black citizens in the census because there supposedly weren't enough left. Now, maybe it's just me, but when I hear something like that, I have questions because people don't just disappear. So, of course, I started digging. What I found was one of the wildest stories I've come across in a long time. See, a lot of people today genuinely believe that Argentina didn't have a significant black population, ever. If you ask some Argentines about black Argentinians, they'll probably tell you that black people just came there recently, that they're immigrants, that they've always been a tiny minority. But that's not what the history says. Black people helped build Buenos Aires. Black people fought in Argentina's wars for independence. Black people helped shape Argentine culture. Even parts of the tango trace back to Afro-Argentine traditions. So how do you go from a city where black people made up roughly a third of the population to a country where people grow up believing that black Argentinians barely exist? That's where the story gets ugly. Part of it was war. Black men were disproportionately pushed into military service and sent to fight in conflicts with devastating casualty rates. Part of it was disease. Yellow fever tore through Buenos Aires in 1871. And it hit black communities especially hard. But the more I read, the more I realize this wasn't just a story about tragedy. It was also a story about intention. Because there were powerful people in Argentina who openly believed that the country's future should be white. Not diverse, not multicultural, white. And unlike people today who hide behind coded language, these men wrote it down. One of the most famous was Domingo Faustino Sarmiento. He's celebrated in Argentina today. Schools named after him, streets named after him. A former president, a founding figure. And he argued openly that Argentina should be remade through European immigration. Then came something called the Blanqueamiento. Millions of European immigrants were encouraged to come to Argentina. The country changed rapidly. And while all that was happening, something else was happening too. The remaining Afro-Argentine population was slowly being erased. Not just from neighborhoods, from records, from census categories, from public memory. That's the part that got me. Because when most people hear the word erasure, they picture like burning books or something. But sometimes erasure looks a lot quieter than that. Sometimes it's changing categories. Sometimes it's deciding who gets counted, whose story gets told. And then a few generations pass. Right. And eventually people start saying there were never any black people here. What are you talking about? And what keeps sticking with me is that Afro-Argentines never fully disappeared. Their descendants are still there. Their history is still there. Their contributions are still there. The thing that disappeared was the acknowledgement. Right. And honestly, I think that's one of the scariest forms of erasure. Because once a country forgets who helped build it, it becomes a whole lot easier to pretend that those people never mattered in the first place. A third of Buenos Aires was black. And that should be common knowledge. The fact that it isn't is part of the story.
That's some history of Argentina there. So those who didn't know. And then during the World Cup finals on Sunday, well, everybody know by now, Spain won. I think it's 1-0. And then there were certain behaviors during the game and after the game that has been recorded by persons. And, excuse me, I always say that FIFA is spelled AFRICA right now, in the sense that every team in the World Cup had somebody who was black or African. The Argentinian team did not have that. And we understand why based on the history we are seeing. So look at some of the behavior of what was recorded, not by me, the Argentine players.
Breaking news, Argentina is now being investigated by FIFA for their disgusting behavior after the World Cup final. There was a lot of things that happened after the match that TV didn't pick up, so we're going to break it down right here. So first of all, when Spain won the match, you can see a few teammates running across the field and celebrating, and that's when you see Molina on Argentina punching Rodri in the stomach, and then a fight starts to break down. If you zoom in, you can see Eric Garcia on Spain getting tossed to the ground, and then when he gets back up, being grabbed by his neck. And it wasn't just the players that played on Argentina. You can see one of the assistant coaches getting involved, striking Dani Olmo in the neck or the face area. And a lot of these players on Spain still don't even know what's going on. You can see Lamine Yamal is literally on his knees praying, and on the other side, you can see Nico Williams finally starts to get up and starts to help out and see what's going on. Then you move on to the awards. You can see the team of Spain raising up the trophy, and then if you look on the other side, you can see the Argentinian players completely have their back turned away from them. Some people are saying, well, they're probably just looking at their fans in the crowd, but to a lot of people, this is a major sign of disrespect. Moving on, inside of the capital of Argentina itself, riots exploded as they threw stones and bottles and other objects as law enforcement tried to disperse the riots that erupted, and they had to respond with water cannons and riot shields, which makes this post even worse. This is the Argentinian president Javier Milei, who had scheduled a tweet that was posted after the game calling for a world celebration and calling it a national holiday. I'm sorry, not only did they get embarrassed by Spain on the field by having 0 shots on target during the whole time of regulation, which is the first time in World Cup history, by the way, they continue to embarrass themselves after, and they need to be held accountable. If anything comes from this, I'll be sure to keep you guys updated, but let me know what you guys think about this.
So it ended up being about Lamine Yamal. Hey. Is that why probably they get one like that? Because you mean Lamine Yamal, mother is of African descent. So let's take in a little of Lamine Yamal. Not so much playing, but a little of his history.
His name is Lamine Yamal. His mother was 16 when she had him. His father picked up scraps from the streets to bring food home. Today, he plays in the World Cup final. Born in Barcelona in 2007, raised in Rocafonda, one of Spain's poorest working-class neighborhoods. Half the population lives below the poverty line. His parents were immigrants with nothing, but they gave him everything they had. When he was just a baby, his family won a charity raffle. The prize, a photo with Lionel Messi at Camp Nou. Not connections, not privilege, a raffle ticket. That photo went viral years later when the baby in Messi's arms started breaking every record Messi ever set. At 15, he became Barcelona's youngest ever first-team player. At 16, the youngest goal scorer in La Liga history. At 17, one day after his birthday, he won Euro 2024 with Spain and was named Young Player of the tournament before he was old enough to drive. Now, at the 2026 World Cup, he became the youngest player to score a World Cup opening goal since Pelé in 1958. Today, he plays in the World Cup final, third youngest finalist in history. Only Pelé and one other player have done it younger. His name means the trustworthy and the beautiful in Arabic, named after two neighbors who helped his struggling family before he was born. He carries them with him every time he scores, flashing 304, the postal code of the neighborhood that made him. From a family picking up scraps in the streets to the World Cup final at 19, Lamine Yamal proves that where you come from is never where you have to stay.
And this segment is all about Lamine Yamal. Bear with me. When we get it, we get it. When we fight adversity to reach where we reach, it must be shown. Look at Yamil and his grandma.
When I was 60, people in my village asked me, why are you going to Spain? I said, so my grandson won't have to herd sheep. I am Fatima. Lamin Yamal is my grandson. In 1990, I spent all my savings on a boat ticket. I worked as a caregiver in a nursing home. I held down 3 jobs. One by one, I brought all 6 of my children over. Then my son had a boy. They named him Lamin. He was different from the start. He picked up a ball at 3, at 5. He was kicking stones through the streets of Matar. When he was 7, he signed with La Magia. He read my contracts for me. He saw the world for me. In 2023 at 15, he made his first appearance for Baja. I was at home crying into my pillow. When he scores, he signals 304, that is the postal code of our neighborhood. He is telling me, Grandma, I haven't forgotten. I haven't forgotten the floor you slept on. I haven't forgotten how you, a woman who couldn't read, raised 6 children. He offered to buy me a house. I didn't move, but I love watching him play. When he runs across that pitch, I feel like this life of mine wasn't wasted.
I will tell you something, it just touched me. Look at him here with his mom.
Where are Lamin Yamal's 2 mothers today? The first is his biological mother, Sheila Abana. She gave birth to Yamal at just 16 and raised him alone after separating from his father, working at a fast food restaurant to support him. Even when money was tight, she always found ways to help him chase his football dream. As Yamal's fame grew, Sheila kept him grounded with strict rules, reminding him that school came before football. Yamal once said, "The real pressure was my mother raising me alone at 16. Football has never been pressure for me. She is my queen." After becoming a star, he repaid her by improving her life and honoring her roots with the Equatorial Guinea flag on his boots. The second is his future stepmother, Christina. After Yamal's parents separated, she met and fell in love with his father, Munir Nasraoui. The couple went public with their relationship and announced their engagement in 2025. Since Christina is only 5 years older than 19-year-old Yamal.
Yeah, and this one really is the heartbreaker.
No wonder Lamin Yamal treats his little brother like his own son. He is raising his little brother the way he wishes he had been raised. Yamal's name came from 2 family friends, Lamin and Yamal, because his family survived only because of them. His father collected scrap for a living, and a family of 9 once lived in a small, old house. Yamal practiced football on concrete floors. His parents even separated because of poverty. Yamal grew up with his mother, who worked almost 24 hours a day at a fast food restaurant. During their hardest time, she met Yamal's stepfather. Together, they sacrificed everything to help him enter Barcelona's academy. After Yamal became successful through Barcelona's youth system, his family's life improved. Soon after, his mother had his younger half-brother, Cain. Surprisingly, Yamal loves Cain like his own child. After victories, he hugs his little brother first, celebrates with him, and even gives him his trophies. He also spends a lot of time playing with him. Yamal says Cain is like my own son. He says, seeing a child and his family grow up happily, the childhood his mother always dreamed of, means more to him than his football achievements. That is why 3-year-old Cain looks so carefree. He runs around the stadium happily, and often makes fans smile with his funny expressions. Do you like their father-son-like bond?
Yeah, people. Enough props to Lamin Yamal, his family, and you keep going from strength to strength. You're sure that is not where you start, is where you end. So let me continue now. I'm seeing this here, and this was yesterday the 20th. If today is the 20th, it was today. Or probably was yesterday. Anyway, it was in the Trinidad Express. Inter-American Commission on Human Rights raises alarm over SOE in TNT. The use of prolonged SOEs by Trinidad and Tobago and the impact of such measures on civil liberties was flagged as a concern in a 2025 report by the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, IACHR. In its 2025 annual report, the IACHR observed that the continued reliance on states of emergencies in Belize, Jamaica, and Trinidad and Tobago raised several concerns regarding the impact of their emergency measures on persons' fundamental rights and freedoms, including their rights to expression, association, and personal liberty within these states. The report noted that concern The report noted with concern the continued use of state emergencies by several Caribbean states throughout the region as part of a security policy aims at addressing rising levels of violence and insecurity. The report went on to explain the use of SOEs in these countries while stating that the Commission also notes with concern the prolonged use of SOE in Trinidad and Tobago. It said, according to publicly available reports, as of January 11, 2026, TNT has spent a cumulative total of 301 days under SOE since December 2024. The report said subsequently on March 3, 2026, the state declared another period of emergency in response to a surge of violent gang-related crimes and intelligence of planned attacks on members of the protected services. On June 10, 2026, the state of emergency was further extended for a period of 3 months and is scheduled to expire in September 2026, the IACHR report noted. I'm not going to read much more. The Commission recalled that the use of emergency powers are exceptional measures that must be limited in duration and scope and may only be applied within the principles of legality, necessity and proportionality and temporality. This is underlined in the IACHR recent resolution 1/2026 of Organized Crime and Human Rights in the Americas, which reiterates that prolonged or repeated reliance on emergency powers risks normalizing these extraordinary measures and consequently may undermine the full enjoyment of human rights, including due process guarantees and protection against arbitrary detention. And it went on and it went on. So everybody is realizing, internationally and regionally and otherwise, that these SOEs, the potential harm of these SOEs, but I'm not in intelligence and that kind of thing. So that's what they say. It's about crime. So I see here Mr. Gregory Aboud.
My name is Gary Aboud. I'm the Corporate Secretary of Fishermen and Friends of the Sea in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm a proud 101%. Now, I commend Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar for responding to our crisis in Guyana, where a ferry went under.
Some tragic news to tell you about this Sunday morning. The MV Barima ferry with 116 passengers and 17 crew members on board sank off the coast of Region 2 in Guyana late on Saturday night.
But since last week, Monday, we've been appealing for assistance for a locally owned vessel that's moored in Chaguaramas that we believe went down outside of Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana. They were fishing outside in Block 49.
A fire broke out on board the St. Vincent 7. This footage captures the chaos and urgency of those terrifying moments before contact with the vessel was lost. Since then, the men and the vessel have both disappeared. And this is their last known location.
And they went down since last Monday. We're searching for them. We're begging for help. Why no help for us? These are 6 of our boys. So you're helping Guyanese before you're helping us? Come on, man. Come on. We need you to come to our rescue. Trinidad and Tobago first, always. Please share this video.
Well, I heard on the news today, they probably would have heard us cry or probably already was in the process of doing it, that there has been assistance by our authorities that have the ability and the expertise to treat those matters. So they are looking or are in the process of looking for that vessel that would have disappeared with our citizens on it, crew members, and captain, of course. So we hope that they are found safe and alive. Also, we want to send out, again, condolences to the people of Guyana. A boat would have sank carrying over 100 and something persons on it. They are still fighting to get survivors. Of course, there are persons they haven't found and all that. So Guyana is in a state of national mourning and tragedy and everything. So the president would have put out some proclamations. This is what it looks like. I'm not going to read it, it's too fine, but I'm going to read what is between the writing just now. So this is what the proclamation looked like. That's the first page. It have a shorter page behind. So it is simply, the president declared, as the president Irfan Ali, Irfan Ali, declared a national tragedy and declared 3 days of national mourning. OL of Guyana is not only fishing dead bodies out of the sea, but is calling for a reviewing of vessels and safety procedures on sea. Is anyone at home looking around to ensure we are up to scratch and make any queries? Okay, so the person who put up this post is simply saying that the president would have declared a state of national tragedy in Guyana. I also heard on the news that persons have been detained in questioning for that situation. I'm also hearing that the boat was overloaded and it sank. I don't know how true it is. I thought it would have turned over, but apparently like it sank. So we need to get safety up, whether it's on the streets of countries or on the seas. Safety. So again, to the people of Guyana, we hear from We Talk the Ting Unfiltered and Bounce Up Central, friends and family, supporters, want to wish the Guyanese people some strength in these times. And to our own fishermen who they had challenges with their boat, we hope that they are found alive and in time. Yeah, and our heart goes out for their families and friends. Excuse me. Again, you all excuse me for the constant clearing. As I say, I do that to my own self. Nessus again is in the news because it is affecting lives. Just like the closer on Methanex and Nutrien sending home of over 10,000 CPEP workers, European workers, contracted workers, bars closing, don't have to send home their workers, business places closing down because they have to send home workers because of the bad economy we're experiencing now because of the high taxes and so many other factors. So we see Nestle's here and Nestle's, give me a minute, Nestle's or Nestle's. Farmers protests or Farmers Union presses. This was in Guardian today. Farmers Union presses for answers on Nestle's exit. The president of the Trinidad and Tobago Farmers Union, Shiraz Khan, is calling for urgent face-to-face discussions with the government and Nestle's over the company's planned exit from the local milk collection industry, saying dairy farmers are still being kept in the dark about the reasons behind the move. Khan comments came days after the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, OWTU, revealed that Nestle's sale process has entered its next phase with an international firm in Switzerland overseeing the transaction. The union also said the process is expected to take between 6 to 9 months while the company's assets are assessed before prospective buyers are invited. Speaking on CNC3 The Morning Brew yesterday, Khan criticized last week's public consultation on the issue, describing it as political spinning rather than a genuine effort to address the concerns of dairy farmers. He said a consultation convened by a ministerial committee failed to provide meaningful dialogue on the future of the dairy industry. Khan claimed former Agriculture Minister Vasant Bharat raised several important questions during the consultation, including why Nestle's intend to stop collecting milk in Trinidad and Tobago while continuing similar operation in more than 40 countries around the world. Why is it that Nestle's want to leave Trinidad and Tobago after being here since 1962? Khan asked. He questioned whether factors such as increased natural gas prices or other operational challenges had influenced the company's decision, saying these issues had never been properly addressed. Khan also challenged the government to explain what efforts were being made to encourage Nestle's to remain in Trinidad and Tobago, arguing that discussions should focus on strengthening the relationships between the company and local dairy farmers instead of relying more heavily on imported milk. He said local milk production has fallen dramatically over the years, but about 14 million liters annually from about 40 million liters annually to around 1 million liters, and call the policies to reverse the decline and call for policies. Right? Among the measures he proposed were granted long-awaited agricultural leases to dairy farmers, allowing them to access financing to expand and modernize the operation. Khan said farmers had invested millions of dollars into milk production over several decades and deserve a meaningful role in discussion about the sector's future. He also corrected reports that Nestle planned exit had been extended by 12 months. Khan said the extension is for 6 months, moving the company planned departure from December this year to June 2027. He maintained that meaningful negotiations involving the government, Nestle's and dairy farmers remain the best chance of preserving the local milk industry before the company exit is final or finalized. I'm sorry that, excuse me, the farmers are going through this. Really, really sorry. But this government said when when everybody wins, and yellow is the code, and they got 28 seats. So it means to say, people believe that. A lot of people believe that. Because they believe under Dr. K. Christopher Rowley, he was a tyrant, he didn't like people, he didn't like black people. He take how much percent for his salary and just give public officers, want to get them 4% for 6 years, and he take all the money, and the story goes on and on and on. Although the opposition at the time, they got all the increases, everything too. And when they came in as the government, they didn't go back and revert back to the old salaries. They took the new salaries, and not only that, they get money one time to make sure they pay them their arrears. But Rowley was a dictator. But you know, under the PNM in 10 years, it had how much SOEs? About 2. And most may have come out of the COVID-19 to try to keep people inside on that. It wasn't for about crime, right? And during those times, hard times, bad times, good times, during COVID-19, public officers were at home and being paid for almost a year to 2 years their salary without going to work. ERP workers, CPAP workers, other persons, there were hampers, there were food subsidies, there were all kind of things. And even coming out of COVID-19, and even when we were in the recession in 2015, CPAP workers were working, bars were pumping, everything was running. But people felt disgruntled for one reason or another, and we are where we are. It's unfortunate. Let me continue. So, listen to this.
I have a serious issue with persons lying to my face, especially when it affects me directly. I saw a video circulating with the current Minister of Public Utilities holding a press conference talking about the reason why the Northwest having issues with water is because the PNM didn't maintain this and they didn't put that in place. But you do know that this website still exists, but we'll get to that shortly. Under the previous administration, they had an initiative called the Northwest Water Supply Improvement Program. The font is a bit small, so I want to put it through all that zooming in thing. I animated it for you. In 2023, that program got 16.85 million. In 2024, that program got 15 million. And in 2025, you all know we had a half and half situation. The first couple of months, the PNM, and the rest of the year, UNC. 12 million. And then in 2026, this current year that we are in right now, we are operating on vibes. $0.00 like a mobile balance. So all those booster stations and pumps and different things, maintaining on hopes and dreams. Don't like clounting, but I especially hate clounting when it affects me. And right now that water supply issues are affecting me. But it goes deeper than that. Let's go back to this website. Because if you go to this website and download the PDF, you're going to see that the former Minister of Public Utilities was all over for a good 5 years. The entire roadmap for WASA regarding where they were at that point in time and where they hope to be and where they were working towards is in that 85-page PDF on the Ministry of Public Utilities website. I recall in the year 2022, the then administration borrowed $315 million US to do massive upgrade works across the country, all down in the bush, with places I've never heard about, all in Tobago, new wells being drilled here, this being opened over there. This is not AI. These buildings and things exist. You can go and feel it physically. But in the earlies, their marketing was shit because even I didn't know about it until they opened the digital command center and I was like, I like where WASA is going. Digitize the thing. And then less than a month after the administration change, Kamala came in front of the camera and proudly tore up the WASA transformation program. And I remember saying, we are spinning top in mud. Why are these people smiling? Why are they so happy? We are seesawing at plans. And then shortly after that, they fired the CEO. They wanted somebody who they approved of, so they fired the CEO. And now, we now hearing that after all these months, they're now looking to start a little something on the side. We could have been here. This is what us can't take. You come, you meet our plan, you don't like the plan, okay, modify the plan, but let things still go forward a bit, you know? No. Come, just scrap everything, stop everything, set us back a year and a half, and then now come and say, well, we're looking to move forward. Some people simply cannot bear the fact that something good happened when they were not in the room. And now you're coming to say, well, you know, they didn't upgrade this and they didn't do that. Meanwhile, look the charts here. I want to know how you could take millions from something and not have it have ripple effects. How can you go from the bare minimum of 12 million to $0.00 and tell me that that isn't having a direct effect on our water supply? You are starving certain corporations, you are starving certain constituencies when it comes to water supply. Wicked and vindictive people.
So recently, one of the junior ministers of housing found himself up in somewhere in Malone, somewhere out there over the rainbow. I don't know, somewhere in Maloney, and there had some persons. I am not from Maloney, so I can't say whether they're from Maloney or not. I can't say XYZ, right? And speaking about dilapidation and the dissatisfaction with the MP, and the MP is Mrs. Camille Robinson-Regis. I must mention, in the People's National Movement, Mrs. Camille Robinson-Regis received the most votes. So it means that the people of her constituency, Twin City, Maloney, they have given her the mandate every time she went up as a candidate to do the work. And he was up there and, you know, his behavior. And since that video has been getting a lot of play all over the place. And this was in Trinidad Express, Camille, meaning Mrs. Camille Robinson-Regis, hits out at government spite. Member of Parliament for Twin City, Maloney, Camille Robinson-Regis has rejected the government's allegations of mismanagement and corruption, claiming The deterioration of her constituency is the result of political spite by the current administration. The former housing minister sought to defend herself against claims made by a minister in the Ministry of Housing, Philip Alexander, following his visit to the constituency last Friday. Alexander said that there was no stores in the Maloney Mall and that there were only 2 barely open restaurants in the food court in the mall. The seating in the adjoining amphitheater is rotten and unusable. The bank removed the only ATM he added. The minister said he was told by residents that they were under siege by gangs, had seized control of 4 of the 21 buildings. Gang control the cleaning and the contract corruption linked to PNM ministers dictated grass cutting and garbage removal. Alexander said the entire maintenance facility is packed with brand new, no longer working grass cutting machine, pile up on top each other, that despite failing to do the job, despite workers' complaints of their inefficiency, were continuously purchased from a preferred supplier by the last administration. The minister warned that Friday visit will result in a report to the HGC Housing Development Corporation Board, which she said will most likely prompt investigation into all above and more. Camille Robinson-Regis, as Member of Parliament, instead of playing the social media blame game, will have a chance to account for the failure of an entire community on her watch, which the cost to taxpayers for all of it. In a fiery retort to Alexander on her Facebook page, Robinson-Regis said the current administration is to blame for the issues facing the constituency. To send Parliamentary Secretary Philip Alexander, who nobody takes seriously, to visit Maloney, just for old talk and photo ops, is an insult and an exercise in time wasting. This government has stopped all projects in PNM areas and have watched spitefully as our communities have deteriorated, Robinson-Regis stated. She also criticized the minister's visit to Maloney on Friday, saying it was nothing more than platitude, pretense, and old talk. I know firsthand the work that was underway before the change of government. I know the conditions in which these projects were left. I know the plans that were approved, and in nearly all instances, work had been proceeding apace, but since May 2025, they have grounded to a halt, with no explanation or indication of a restart. According to Robinson-Regis, repairs to HCC rental units have stopped, construction of the new HCC sub-office in Maloney has stopped, and the redevelopment of the Maloney HCC mall has stopped, as stalled. Grass cutting and environmental maintenance has been neglected. Bonnet Village Plaza has been allowed to deteriorate into an acceptable state of disrepair. The MP also said that the large communal garbage receptacles serving Maloney have been removed and garbage collection has become sporadic, adding that the unreliable waste management service had forced residents to contend with rats, cockroaches, and other vermin. And if that was not enough, Train City now has a beautiful modern state-of-the-art community center that should be alive with programs for our young people, our senior citizens, sporting organizations, cultural groups, and community activities. Instead, it remains unopened and unavailable to the very people to whom it was built. I spoke to somebody from Maloney, and they said Maloney has swimming pool, it has community center, it has the mall, and some other places on that. I saw there was a time last year where the residents of Maloney were complaining because they removed the big receptacle to put the garbage, and the garbage truck wasn't coming. And they make a big thing about it. I understand when the councillors, PNM councillors, they found out about it, and the MP found out about it, and things were put in place to treat the issue. So let's hear the residents of Maloney who are impacted by this. What is Philip Alexander speaking about? Is it that you're saying that your MP has done nothing for Maloney? I'm asking a question, because I would expect you all to come out to show the work that the MP has done, because you all keep voting her back. with confidence. So it means to say she was working. So let's see how that goes. What is the PNM response? Are they going to just leave Miss Robinson Regis out there on her own? Where is the PRO? Where is the SMO to go up to Maloney and take pictures and show a different side of the city? What is happening? So we are waiting to see. With that, Ms. Camille Robinson Regis, you know, you have my support. Once it's the writing, you have my support. I'm seeing that the case with the Hadiths, it has reached the Privy Council, and you know that the court would have the appeal court would have ordered their release based on certain things. And when the lawyers of the Hadiths went there, they were told something else. They were not released. They were told that the state was begging leave to apply to the Privy Council, which is our last appellate court, to understand. And they have been held back since. So now that the matter has been registered with the Privy Council, let us see where it goes from there. Sad state of affairs. Hey, hold on, let me come to me. You remember the Honorable Khadija Amin made a big ado and several ministers concerning CPEP. And we saw what happened to CPEP Europe. There's a massive corruption with the contracts, but yet they send all the workers who are actually working. The growing economy has gone to reach a halt because nobody buy fortnightly, weekly, and monthly again. That economy gone. They move that one time. It's only monthly when people get paid, they buy what they need. So people do not be fooled when they see groceries fill and price match fill and all that. People have to eat and they will find the money monthly to eat. Because people can't stay hungry. You might stay without a shoe or something, but you have to eat. When them hunger pain starts in your tail, you have to eat, right? But the point is that they created something called NUPS, or some damn thing, where workers were rehired, but about 1,000 or something from about 10,500, and they boast about how this program is so good and all that. I'm now hearing the NUPS, PUPS, and POPs. They have about 3 fortnights outstanding in this pay. I saw a woman put up a video, something stating, she said she didn't want to make a video. She was passing somewhere and she saw a person of African descent down in a woman down in the dirty canal water while the men stand on top, and she described what ethnicity the men were. And she was so disturbed, but she didn't want to take no pity or anything because she didn't want to put the woman work in any jeopardy, but it really hurt her to see that because it would have hurt me too. All these man, whether African man, Indian man, Chinese man, whatever, all they go down in the blasted dirty water and canal. Let the woman stay on top, all they put it up on top and she could bag it, whatever, and the woman down inside. Anyway, I saw this in some online news thing called TNT Top Tier Media, and it says here, and POPs workers demand outstanding wages after weeks without pay. I even heard MP Dominic Romain would have spoken about it on Sunday. I missed the show, but I went back and I heard a part of it. If not this Sunday, it would have been last, right? Workers employed under the National Program for the Upkeep of Public Spaces and POPs are calling for the immediate payment of outstanding wages after reportedly working several fortnights without receiving their salaries. Speaking to Guardian Media, NPOPs workers Mary Ramotab said employees are struggling to pay bills and are frustrated by the lack of clear information about when they will be paid. She said many workers have been forced to borrow money just to get to work and accuse officials of giving them conflicting explanation each time they seek answers. Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, Khadija Amin, acknowledged the issue, describing it as an administrative error. She said the problem had been identified. It's not the fault of the workers and efforts are underway to resolve it. We just had a situation in Port of Spain, City Corporation. Was that also administrative error? I'm just asking. Another NPOPS employee who requested anonymity said while some workers have received payments, many are still owed wages despite the program shifting from fortnightly to monthly payments. The NPOPS program, which replaced CPEP earlier this year, now operates across all 14 municipal corporations and employs approximately 1,600 workers to maintain public spaces. Workers say they are not asking for anything beyond what they have earned and are urging the government to ensure they receive their outstanding pay promptly. Let me tell MPOPS people something. I do begrudge all the working and get the work under who and my issue. But you know this can happen under PNM. You think a PNM government under Dr. Rowley could have all the working, say all this fortnight and then says monthly and all they getting pay. You think a PNM could have sent home 10,500 CPEP workers, thousands of URP workers, thousands of reforestation workers, thousands contracted workers, and they say nothing? You think a PNM government could have been having SOE after SOE, and people are saying nothing? Let me tell you something, eh? Humans are the strangest people, especially in Trinidad, because I live in Trinidad, all they're not easy. Under PNM, all they have everything to say, all they have mouth. When you see Mrs. Kamala Prasad, Bissessa touchdown and diplomatic center, this is all it. That's all anything. You're hungry. And your belly going, you get money. It's all right. And you have all the bills to pay, the landlord waiting for your money, T&Tech bill waiting for all kind of thing. All the good years. But
when you voted for the UNC and realized you mess up.
Remember continues. So, I learned a new word for today. All you go help me pronounce it in all my business. Me no Spanish teacher, me no English teacher, me no university, nothing. Okay? So, our word for today is, let me look for the pronunciation. Let's see. I look it up. Verisimilitude. Verisimilitude. All you learn it. We gonna have a word for the day. We have to learn new words. We have to step out the comfort zone. You see how Ms. Kizelle talk about kleptocracy and hello. Before she did say that, I didn't even know them words and them. So here, what's going on? We here, on the told the thing, we having a word for the day. So look at the word again. Verisimilitude. And what that means, the appearance of being true or real, the likelihood of probability of truth. An example how to use the word. The historical fiction novel was praised by critics for its stunning attention to detail and historical verisimilitude. Hello, hey, we outside. So people wait for the day. Let me continue, he continues. You all remember I told you all that we're going to have somebody who has knowledge of the IT world and things IT. So before we get to her, let me just play this.
The more you look into data centers, the more you will understand why it is the white people don't want them in their backyards. As we already found out before, most of them are loud, they use a lot of electricity and large quantities of fresh water. Those three things were bad enough, but now add light pollution to the mix. Hyperscale facilities require all-night lighting that disrupts the natural circadian rhythm of the body, including melatonin production, the hormone that regulates sleep, and sleep-wake cycles. It then went on to talk about how it disrupts the migration patterns of birds and bees and bats and cats. But I want you all to pay attention to this part here. The long-term impact of both noise and light pollution includes hearing loss, stress, insomnia, and decreased quality of life. But there's more, because now we turn our attention to air pollution. Data centers, especially gas-powered data centers, emit significant pollutants such as nitrogen oxide, methane, volatile organic compounds, and fine particle matter. According to a September 2025 study, these pollutants increase the risk of respiratory disease and cardiovascular conditions, and they elevate cancer risk amongst nearby communities. A 2025 model indicates that US data centers in 2030 can cause approximately 600,000 asthma symptom cases and 1,300 premature deaths. I wish it ended there, but no, there's more. We turn our attention now to water quality, particularly that of ground and surface water, because apparently the pipes that transmit the water to and from the data centers are coated in different chemicals to prevent corrosion. And when that water ultimately makes its way back into the ecosystem, it tends to pollute the ground and surface water. It must be noted that at the end of most of those papers, they often say that more research is needed. The empirical evidence isn't there yet, but it's leaning towards there based on what research has already been conducted. But I hope now you all have a better understanding as to why many of these first world countries that are not living under SOE are having such challenges building these things wherever they feel like it. People generally don't want it close to them, which is why they are down here in the Caribbean where they have more leeway to do what they want, because they can't tell massa no. But this is just one more example as to why this government is a giant clown show. They simply do not care. They feel they can bully and steamroll you into anything, because rather than acknowledging the real world concerns by real human beings with real lives, they immediately went to their default, send their online army to start cursing, attacking and bullying anyone who are raising these real world concerns. They don't care. You may get some jobs, but then die from cancer in the end. And while you're alive, you're watching a child suffocated from asthma. Also, some person in America, the same place they don't want it, could open their phone and make a fruit video of two apples in a relationship, and you don't get dying from cancer.
So that was Ramos there bringing us, as usual, very informative. The person who, the subject matter expert I'm going to bring now, as I said last week, is Isaac. She has more than 3 decades in business administration, network engineering, information technology, and management information systems field. She worked in Silicon Valley in research and development area, and also as a project program manager and enterprise technical transformation architect. She also was an enterprise technical training director for Global 500 Fortune, as they call it, 500 technology companies, and also serve as a college lecturer. So she comes with years of experience in the field of IT and things of that nature. So Ms. Isaac, are you there? Let me get her. Yes, so Ms. Isaac is here. And it's not everybody like to be on camera like me. I always camera kind of ready, right? So we don't have to actually see the person, but we would like to hear the information. So Ms. Isaac, welcome to Let Me Talk the Ting.
Thank you for having me, Jen.
Bunks of Central. We welcome you. So we will get into it because we don't have time to waste. We don't stick here. So Ms. Isaac, I want you to tell us if there is a difference, if any, between a general data center and an AI data center.
There is absolutely a difference, Jen. And what we call them are traditional data centers. And The preferred term, the AI data centers, are called AI factories. That's my preferred term for them because it distinguishes the traditional data center from what it is we're dealing with right now. And those are the AI factories. Now, to explain the differences, a traditional data center functions like a digital warehouse or a library, right? So they are designed to host your website, store your little files, your stuff in the cloud, process your little bank transactions, put you up on YouTube and Facebook and other things like that. They do sequential, general purpose type of a computer processing. An AI factory operates more like a heavy industrial manufacturing plant. Their sole purpose is not to store information, but to produce intelligence through massive, non-stop parallel computing. So when you think about parallel computing, the traditional data center is like a little two-lane Western main road highway. You have cars going up, cars going down. But the AI factory, think of about 100 or more Solomon Hochul Highway and all these lanes, and they're all going in the same direction very, very fast because the AI workloads push thousands of specialized graphics processing at full capacity at the same time. So they need those kind of speeds to run down the highway as fast as possible, right? So how they work, the traditional servers handle a little data back and forth. You send something up between the outside user, that's you on your phone, your laptop, your iPhone, your little device, your tablet, and you send a little request and it goes, hey, Miss Jenny is asking me for something. Let me go get it. And then they send it back down to you. So it's a back and forth, straight up and down. AI factory will do what they call multiple billions of data points broken up into little bits and process pieces simultaneously. Note the word billions, right? So because they are constantly working and talking to each other and at that lightning fast speed, their architecture is more like a massive one single giant supercomputer. Whereas with a traditional data center, you have, some little servers on a rack like a shelf, and they all kind of, sitting there doing their thing, right? And because the difference also between a traditional data center and the AI factory is the mass power, processing speeds that they need. And they're not just storing information and sending it back to you. They are literally learning and processing and doing language development. That's why they call them LLMs. That means that they require a monumental amount of resources. And those resources, for now, we're going to focus on the electricity, the water, and the land. Those are the three primary ones that get impacted. Let's talk about the land first. AI factories require massive physical footprints because the more processing power that they need, the bigger the footprint is because you have to put all of these chips and processing units under one roof. And it's huge. It's a lot. To give you an example of how big one of these data centers can be, one of these factories can be, and how much space they can take up, some data centers, there's one that is said is as large as the state of Delaware, and they expect those sizes to double. Now think about it. Trinidad by itself is just about the size of the state of Delaware in the United States. When we add Tobago, we might be about the size of Rhode Island. And one massive data center is about the size of little place. Imagine if the sizes get to double. Now, they may not be building anything that size or plan to build anything that size in Trinidad and Tobago, but that gives you an idea of the massive scale that these things, what they're projected to be and what they're planning on building in across the world, right? So that's the land, massive real estate. We're an island. We do not have a whole lot of real estate. The next thing we look at is the water. Massive amounts of water is needed to cool these GPUs. A traditional data center, you put a little fan, you put a little AC. In fact, the size of a typical data center when I first started out in the business would be in the basement of a building, right? And we would enclose it in some soundproofing glass, and because you can hear that humming there all the time. This is not your daddy's data center. These AI factories need massive amounts of plumbing that run liquid cooling because they have to cool those chips because they're going so fast, they cause friction. Friction causes heat. They need to be cooled. So a traditional facility, the data center, they might use, maybe the equivalent of about 50 gallons of water that might have a footprint of about maybe 20,000 people. A large-scale AI data center will use 5 million gallons of water every single day, right? And that's like a whole city, about the footprint of a small city. And so they use some different technology to mitigate that, but at the end of the day, it still needs all that water. And as Rambles mentioned, there are side effects to the way they cool these things. So that's that. So we have a water problem. The next thing is the electricity. And there are two ways you can look at electricity. For example, when you do a query on your standard Google search, so we're looking at it per query. When you do a query on your standard Google search, it might use roughly 0.3 watt hours of electricity, which is teeny tiny. When you boot up your ChatGPT or your OpenAI or your Gemini or your Copilot, all these AI search engines, that one query, consumes 10 times more energy than your one little standard Google query. So that's our interaction with it. That's the kind of energy that we are using when we do that. Then we can look at the power draw from a facility aspect. So a traditional data center draws enough power for about maybe 10,000 to 25,000 homes. The AI hyperscale factories will easily draw enough power for 100,000 homes or more, and 100,000 is like the minimum baseline you can give it. And so, to put it in perspective, Meta, Facebook, is building a facility in Louisiana. It's not done yet, but it is projected to require more electricity than the entire city of New Orleans. Now, the entire city of New Orleans has a population of about 370,000 people. And as we said earlier, if you're using the water for an average of maybe 20,000 people, imagine when you multiply that and you have 370,000 people equivalent drawing on your water, your electricity. So those are the resource requirements for a traditional data center and an AI factory, right? So it's to summarize, traditional factories use traditional cooling, heating, and low wattage for electricity and power. The AI factories is a monstrosity that will, it's like think of a big sukuya that's just sucking on everything that is energy and water, and of course, the big giant footprint that it takes up on the land.
So, Ms. Isaac, do you think one of the reasons why they may be looking, because MOU was signed, nobody knows what the MOU concerned. So it appears it's not just one, and we are hearing now that there's one already started in some secret location. Is it one of the draws to the country, Trinidad and Tobago, because of our cheap subsidized water and electricity? You think that may also be a factor?
I absolutely believe that, and I was heartened to hear the former Minister of Public Utilities, the Honorable Marvin Gonzalez, when he mentioned it, because I hadn't heard anyone else talk about that. We are rich in natural gas. These factories love that, and not only do we have a grid that runs on that, but we don't use all of it. So we will have a little bit of an excess. And then you add on top of that, it's subsidized. We have some of the cheapest utility rates in the Western Hemisphere because of our natural gas grid and because it is subsidized by our government. So they are attracted to those cheap rates and probably, whatever sort of benefits they might get, what do you say, kudos they might get from the government, a little something, tax breaks and other things like that. So absolutely. And as Rambles also said, we are smaller. The people in the US are fighting against it, even though they can handle and absorb the massive plants that these things are. They have the land space, they have the power grid, they have the money, they have the population, they have the skill set. So ask ourselves, why? Why are they coming down to our little Caribbean to plop these things? It's because, in my opinion, they are getting so much pushback in their own country, and they see regulations coming, and they don't want to do that, so they can come down to our little island and, hey, have at it. So absolutely.
Ms. Isaac, we have a couple more minutes. I want to ask you because, and people, this will not just end today because there are different aspects of this that we'll want to get Ms. Isaac expertise on. We still have to talk about the effect of the environment. And I'm not going to ask you about employment because this government is speaking about employment for so much people and people are excited. I guess some people may be excited with the thought. If these things are being built, it's obvious you will need people to build these facilities. But are those employment going to be full-time, part-time? Can you tell us what is the employment and the economy and stuff coming out of that? How is that viable? How is it more negative than positive?
That's a very good question, because oftentimes when they are putting these factories in spaces, whether it's in America or wherever it is they decide to put it, they always throw that out there. It will create jobs. What they forget to tell you is that these jobs often are not permanent. So they create what we call a temporary boomlet, and it's mostly centered around blue collar. So your plumbers, your facilities, people like HVAC, electrical, the hardware techs, the ones who do the managing the technology inside the server rooms and all of that, right? But once the construction is done, where's that mason, that builder gonna go? It's a temporary job. The same thing for the HVAC people. Now you might have a recurring thing because those things need maintenance. And same thing, the hardware techs and so forth. But that boomlet is not always beneficial to the local people. So they might hire you to do go put down the bricks and so forth. But most of the time, they have what we call a fly-in type of a scenario. So they'll fly their people in, what is the expertise, not necessarily the hands-on type of a thing that need, like the manual labor. But once these data centers are built, people think, oh, wow, we're going to have jobs. Well, no, because they're going to fly in the expats, and then they're the ones who are going to be running everything. And guess where that money is going to go? Right back out to where these people came from. And the other thing that we have to look at from an economic standpoint is the tax break that our government might give these people to come here. So while these things might be generating money, it does not always translate into our local economy actually benefiting from it in a meaningful way. We might get a little dust here and a little dust there, but oftentimes these foreign entities require that the government give them some sort of break, some little something, some incentive to come here. So from an economic standpoint, it will be a boomlet. Not a boom, a boomlet, a little boom. And it might last maybe 1 to 2 to 3 years, because that's how long it might take to build something and then build another one. But once those data centers are built, you might get a little maintenance contract to treat the HVAC. But our intellectual people, the one with the degrees, the one who might be going into those things and working, they're probably the most vulnerable in this environment. So someone like me, I would be high on the AI will take my job type of scale, because the AI is learning to write its own code. So I don't see it's not a permanent thing. But here's the thing, even if you say, wow, I'm a plumber, I'm an HVAC engineer, I'm a hardware tech, I'm going to have a job. But at what cost? Like Ramble said, get rich and die trying.
Actually, that was coin manned up by 50 Cent.
Okay.
So, Miss Isaac, it was a pleasure having you here. And people, this is not the end of this conversation. There are other aspects of AI data centers, and we hear that AI is more like a factory, a big industry, and we would have heard Ms. Isaac explain that to us. There are different aspects of it, I said, and we will definitely have her back on next Tuesday to speak about the environmental part of it, what the pros and the cons of that. So people stay tuned. And again, we want to thank Ms. Isaac for your time, because I know you're doing double and triple role here. So we will see you on the next side, because we have some other segments coming up. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and blessed evening to the audience and those on the live.
Okay. So as we continue, you want to get into Balisay House. It's important. Let me give a little history, because we need to stand up and defend and protect the history and the legacy of Balisay House. So I'm seeing something in an article. Actually, it's an article from Professor Hamid Ghani. And while I'm reading it, there are a lot of historical things in it I want to read. So I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to read the part that interests me. It says here, the recent serving of court documents regarding the construction of the new People's National Movement headquarters under legislation passed in 2019 related to the explanation of wealth has put Balisay House in the spotlight. The vision of Dr. Eric Williams for a PNM party headquarters was reported in the newspapers on Friday, October 5th, 1962, in a column written by then General Secretary of the PNM, Nicholas Simonet, as follows. This week I wish to refresh the minds of party members on the ideas which circulated in the party when the decision was to acquire a party headquarters was first taken. Here's what the political leader said in his address to the third annual convention, October 17th, 1958. This is what we have to do. We have to build our party organization from the bottom up. We have to reorganize our systems of education so that through the party, it penetrates into the deepest masses of the people. We have to reorganize our press on the same scale. The whole constitutes that we have to look upon as the development program of the party, which involves above all the financing of these vast projects. The first essential is a party headquarters. According to the Nation for Friday, April 26, 1963, under the headline Golden Key to Balize House, the following was reported. Dr. Williams said, "We have been looking forward to this great day for many years, and what we will see today as we enter the building, we will understand the work of many people, many contributors, drawn from all walks of life in the country, drawn from all levels of our national party. The idea of a party's headquarters is at least 5 to 6 years old. But for the first time in 1961, during the election, we launched a campaign for funds throughout the country, and it became possible to envision the realization of the dream. The appeal fund was largely under the control of the donations committee with the political leader as chairman. The 1961 general election was used to raise funds. This strategy was coupled with the support of other persons who were pivotal in making Balize House a reality. The Nation went on to report on Dr. Williams saying the following. I believe that today I ought to draw attention to the work of 3 members of the party, work which has resulted in the establishment of the headquarters. The first party chairman, Sir Larry Constantine. The second member of the party whose service I would like to place on record is Mr. John O'Halloran. The third member responsible for our presence today is Mr. Alfredo Bermudez. The conclusion of Dr. Williams' address was reported as follows. We were in rented premises. This is our own local habitation. Therefore, I give it a name. I named this party headquarters Balize House. So that was from the Nation. I think it may have been a newspaper, if not so, and I'm so happy that Professor Ghani would have in his research to write probably something else would have put that there. So out of everything sometime, as bad as it looked, you could get something. So that was some historical context of Balize House. I'm going to put up this picture here. This here, that picture there, has to do with, give me a minute, the construction of Balize House. That was in 2019, it began, and that is a picture there of, you can see Ron Sinanan, Dr. Rowley, Foster Cummins, and I'm not aware who the other person, just let me read and see. So it's political leader, Dr. Keith Rowley, deputy political leader, Ron Sinanan, and General Secretary Foster Cummins at the launch of the construction of Balize House. So that was in 2019. So there has been, the rebuilding has been open. Everybody would have seen what's happening there. There's an attack on Balize House now. The government of the day, the Attorney General of the day, has requested from the police, because now the Anti-Corruption Investigation Bureau that was taken from under the office of the Attorney General when Stuart Richard Young was the Minister of, I think, National Security, or was he in the AG office? One out of the two, but they were advised by the DPP for things to look fair as if there's no political interference. That investigative bureau should be moved from under the office of the Attorney General, I think it was, and put under the hands of the police or the Commissioner of Police. Now that has been removed from the Commissioner of Police and back under John Jeremy, the Attorney General, and he has indicated who he coming after and who he coming after, whatever. And whatever documentation was sent to the police for there to be an investigation into the financing of Balisay House. So that is where we are right now. Listen to Marvin Gonzalez, who is the chairman of the party of the PNM. I think he was on Marlon Hopkins today. People, I forget we have our people meter poll or Jenny people meter poll. And I will give you the question. And while the question and you put in your answers, I would play the video from Marvin Gonzalez on, was it Morning Nation today with, I think, Marlon Hopkins, if I'm not mistaken. So, Director, could you put up the question, please? Somehow I feel I didn't write it. So the question is, do you think that the opposition leader responds to important issues in a timely and satisfactory manner? I'm going to read it again. Do you think that the opposition leader responds to important issues in a timely and satisfactory manner? If you believe that she does, 1 for yes, and if you believe she don't, 2 for no. Please, when you put in, just put either 1 or 2. Don't put no long explanation because then you won't be able to tally the votes properly. After you voted, they could put your yes and no and all kind of bacchanal. But for voting purposes, for it to be counted in the poll, just put 1 for yes and 2 for no. Nothing else, just numbers, no words. And the question is, do you think that the opposition leader responds to important issues in a timely manner and in a satisfactory manner? Right? That is basically what it is. 1 for yes if you believe she does, 2 for no if you don't. Right? While you are voting, and the polls will remain open until this video is finished.
And no Attorney General that operates with vile and vengeance and revenge will put his dirty and grubby hands on the People's National Movement and our dear Balisay House.
Opposition Chief Whip Marvin Gonzalez's warning to Attorney General John Jeremy on TV6's Morning Edition, as the opposition People's National Movement continues to refute the government's calls for the party to make public their source of funding for the recent redevelopment works done on Balisay House, the PNM's headquarters. Gonzalez says that the preliminary unexplained wealth order obtained by police stemmed from a report commissioned by the AG.
The order that was obtained by the police in relation to the unexplained wealth for the PNM emerged out of a report that was commissioned by the Attorney General. And that report is dated the 17th of June 2026. The report is very clear that it makes no finding of guilt, it makes no finding of criminality or anything like that. It was commissioned by the Attorney General and it was presented to the Attorney General.
He emphasized that there was no evidence of wrongdoing in the report.
In reading that report that was commissioned by the Attorney General, I thought I would have seen the evidence of dirty money funding Balisay House. I thought I would have seen the evidence of drug money funding the reconstruction and the refurbishment of Balisay House. I thought I would have seen evidence of corrupt activities funding Balisay House. And therefore, I say today, as we have indicated time and time again, that the Prime Minister and the Attorney General are pathological liars and deceivers. And so far, they have uttered and they have submitted not one iota of evidence to support what they are saying.
Gonzalez says that this is something that should raise concerns among the entire population.
It should concern every single citizen of this country. I don't know any criminal investigation that must be triggered by a report that was commissioned by the Attorney General's office, a political appointee who has indicated that he intends to go to war with members of the opposition and members of the People's National Movement. It should concern every citizen that that report that was commissioned by the Attorney General finds its way on the desk of the Commissioner of Police, and as a result of that, just 2 weeks after, they were able to go before the court and convince a judge to issue an unexplained wealth order.
Gonzalez also confirmed that he will have more to say in the coming days as the PNM's lawyers get ready to defend the party. Dominic Ramroop, TV6 News.
So people, that was the chairman of the People's National Movement speaking out against what appears to be, based on everything we're seeing, some type of political witch hunt against Balize House. I want to tell Mr. Atilia that nobody forcing you to vote, so you don't have to tell me you ain't voting. If you don't want to vote, you don't want to vote. It's not children here, darling. So coming out of that people meter poll, Jenny's people meter poll, the question again was, do you think that the opposition leader responds to important issues in a timely and satisfactory manner? If you believe that she does, it's 1 for yes, and if you believe she does not, it's 2 for no. I must tell you, the tools have it. 95% agree that she does not respond to important issues in a timely and satisfactory manner. And 5% says, yes, she does. So again, the tools have it. Thank you all for taking part in this poll. It's very important. It might look simple, but it is important and instructive because data is very, very important. Yeah? So let me continue. I'm seeing that Mr. Manning, Brian Manning, is having a meet and greet on Tuesday. So that's tonight. I hope people went out, 7:30 p.m. So I hope right now the St. Madeleine Regional Complex pack out there to listen to the only member of parliament and the only member of parliament to have won his seat from the Southland. We lost everything, If it wasn't for Brian Manning, we lost the whole thing, So he's the only beacon of light we have down there right now. So I hope that St. Madeleine Regional Complex is ram out and you're all out there to go and talk and meet and greet with the member of parliament there. So let me continue. Also have this. We stand in defense of our history, 70 years strong, Balize House headquarters. So on Thursday, I think 6:30 p.m., all PNM supporters, members, friends, family, come out in support of Balize House. Come out in support of the protection of our democracy and our house. Balize House is all our house. I read for you what Dr. Ike Williams would have said when they were building Balize House. They were renting premises and they bought the area and they built the old structure that we knew of. Well, back then it was not old, it was new, but after years and years, you know what? So come out in defense. This is not about an individual. This is not about the political leader of the PNM. This is not about the opposition leader of the PNM. This is not about no member of parliament of the PNM. This is in defense of Balize House, where all of us can go as members, where we could remember our history, where this piece of real estate is where the founding fathers of the PNM would have put down there for us to have now. And we must come out and show that support in support of Balize House. I will be out there wrapping a flag I'm going to be wrapped up in a PNM flag outside for this call. And I urge you all to come out to defend our democracy and Balize House. That is our house. We house. Yeah? So I will be out there urging everybody to be out there. I want to say, because all you know me, at the end of the day, I just keep it real. I want to tell some in the PNM, because people seem to be uncomfortable to talk truth. You have to be able to talk. This wrongs is for truth, you know. This is not long time days, you know. These are the days now where the truth has to be told and has to be spoken, because the young people are taking that so. So let me be real. Let me talk the truth. And sometimes the truth does hurt, but it's necessary. And once it's not done in maliciously, to slander and all that, which I don't do, I will speak the truth. It's ironic that those who want to victimize, ostracize, insult, call all kinds of names because they have a different opinion, all are we who agree, disagree, is needed to come out on Thursday to stand in defense of Balize House. That's why you don't refuse the stone. You don't reject the stone. You may not like the color of the stone. You might find it too hard, all kind of things. But have respect for different opinions. But all it does cost people, get people to cost people as they say something about the opposition leader. And Thursday, all in studying all that, all they want the same people who can't have an opinion different than all their own. All you want them to come and stand with you all in solidarity. But you know what? We will come because it's bigger than all you. It's bigger than all you. It's bigger than the opposition leader, the political leader, Mrs. Penelope Beckers. It's bigger than the chairman of the party, MP Marvin Gonzalez. It's bigger than the deputy political leader and MP Comember. And Jennifer Ortiz Primer is the deputy political leader, and Sanjay Buru, deputy political leader. It's bigger than the general secretary, assistant general secretary. It's bigger than the treasurer and the trustee and the this one and that one. The call is bigger than all you today. But all of us sit down on all you. And because people have a different opinion than all you, all of us have people cuss them and want to insult them. And you can't write nothing. Yeah? But on Thursday, all I want them same people to come and stand. But these same people coming to stand, but they ain't coming to stand with all you know. They're coming to stand for the history of the People's National Movement. They're coming to stand in defense of the Balize House. That's why we're outside. So I encourage everybody to be outside to defend Balize House, not to defend the political leader and opposition leader or the chairman or the national executive and all that, but to defend Balize House against what is happening, because there's a history behind it. Blood, sweat, and tears have gone into the building, and that comes straight down to modern times. And it's a symbol of the PNM existence. Nobody else can have. The UNC, big and mighty, has their 28 seats, and have been around so long. They're still moving from place to place to place to place. So we cannot not afford to go and stand in peace and solidarity for Balize House. Peace, very orderly. No bacchanal, no confusion, nothing, just stand in peace, silence, in defense of Balize House. That's why we're outside. That's why we're outside. We are outside to support no leader. We're outside to support the call to rally to support Balize House and what it means and history it means. And I'm saying it again. Well, all the people who disagree with all here, because we have a different opinion about the political leader, the opposition leader, which is our right to have that. It's our rights to have that. And instead of let's sell all the product, because let's say all have a good product, sell it. All of a sudden the rubber ding ding with the safety pin. All is Adidas, Puma, Nike, Jordan, all the big name, sell all the product. You think Nike and them just study butter bullets? No, them in a different league. They just sell the product. But all this product so good. It tested, it tried, it true, it did years. Support it. And instead of let's try to sell the product, all of a sudden we, the rubber ding ding, we have safety pin holding up the thing and rusting and holding it up. What I say about the product all they're trying to sell. So I'm saying it again. The stone the builder refuses end up being the head cornerstone. And all they try to reject me and throw it to the side. But Thursday, the same people all they stand up and call down redemption on and not redemption, what's the word, boy? Call down on we punishment because we disagree and we wagging tongue and all kind of thing we spent, shell and spent, was spent in something, like your time pass and all them, you want all who time pass to come and stand up Tuesday. You want all the old people to come and stand up. You want the elders to come and stand up. You want the young ones to come and stand up. But when we have a different opinion now, all they're cussing me. But as I say again, this is nothing to do with all you. This is to do with the legacy of the People's National Movement, the PNM Valley. So I'm urging everybody to come out peacefully, come out and stand up in silent protest peacefully. Come in your red jersey. I wrapping my whole self in a red flag because I'm not going to wear no red jersey with nobody name and whatever. I ain't going for that. I'm going to stand in defense of Balize House. So I have a red PNM flag wrapped around me. When that pass and thing gone, I go back to my vibes. But you see, Thursday, this is serious business. This is not about no national executive and who they like and don't like. It's not about who we like and they don't like, or who we agree with and disagree with. This is bigger than that on Thursday. So come out and give Balize House, Dr. Williams and all the elders who went before us, come out and give them that support because sure, they're going to be standing there with we in solidarity, coming out in peace, togetherness, in support on Thursday. So we outside. Yeah, people, I love you all. Thank you all for the support as usual. Let me see all who here. Let me see if I could get some people who here. So I'm looking at YouTube. This glasses, watch me now. Mr. Gibson, I'll tell you. Anon, Jerome, Julie, who again, boy? Avion, Albert, Owen, Kathleen, Pearl, Marlene, I think I said Annette already, Patricia, Deborah, everybody we take time for dinner. I think Benny Q there too, if not. I know he or she, I'm not sure if it's a man or woman. Yes, she's there, Benny Q or he. Thank you all for the support as usual. Let me see across on Facebook what it looks like. And people on Facebook, don't be dismayed when you see the numbers small because I'm not streaming directly on Facebook. I understand from our expert that Facebook doesn't like you to stream other platforms on their own, so the algorithm will always be off. Yeah, if I was just streaming on Facebook as I used to do long time when I used to hold up my phone and all kind of thing, numbers used to be pumping. After when you watch it is 6,007. The viewing public was about that. If they reach 100, I used to scream out because like, oh my God. But it's we have 50, 60 or that. However, on this platform now, McGill reached the 500 actually viewing already. But the numbers are small when you look at who viewed it after, and that's because of how much people have subscribed to Bounce Up Central. So people come and build the numbers. We have over 40, how much more thousands of people. I don't know if we reach a 200,000 yet or 300,000. This is we platform for we. Please go and like it, subscribe to it, and let me get the numbers pumping, right? So people, let me see. What's going on Facebook? Not, yeah, Facebook just so. I'm going to see all who did. So Diamond, Gloria, Keith, Rosalind, Joyce. Let me see who again. Miss Melka, Sarah, Rosalind, Augusto, Anne, Joycelyn, Bolty, Angela, Miss Yvette, Christopher, Cheryl, all those who I looked on. And again, thank you for all those who always send me videos for me to play. I love it. Thank you all so much. All those who take time to come and be a part of Let Me Talk Detail. Thank you all. I hope my voice by Friday, my voice get better, right? I'm going to drink some honey and I'm drinking my irony like blue. That the only water that's really, I can't drink no other water, Papa. Right? That's hot my belly, all kind of things. So it is what it is. So people again, we outside Thursday in the fence of Balisay house. Thursday, we outside 6:30. I'm wrapping myself, my head and my whole body in a flag outside for the Balisay house. Dr. Eric Williams and all the founders, we outside. We outside. You go get people. I walk with a little money and get somebody want a little passage, something I could get them a little. I ain't have no money really. A little train and body want a passage to get back home. Because no things sad. All you who have vehicle, who got bring down people now. A maxi, what a maxi ever. Come down and support. Remember, it's the People's National Movement where moving from train to maxi, you know, because all the train line become bus route and thing, you know, and then maxi come in and everybody right. Remember the policies of the People's National Movement. All them policies was developed right there by the Red House. Right there, all the policy for school and where all Indian children was going to school and education officers used to make sure they go across the Carnegie Bridge to make sure Ma and Pa and Peter and Bauji and Nana and Nene, everybody send the little girls and things to school, little boys to school, take them out the garden. Ask Miss Kamala Prasad Bissessa how she come educated so. It wasn't UNC education, wasn't Bada Saga Maharaj education, was the PNM policy, and all them come big lawyer and doctor and all kind of thing. And we happy because them is Trinidad and Tobago, that we children, that we family, right? All the things we enjoy. Look, Nestle's was here to make sure the little babies have milk and thing. You hear the farmers complaining, no? They're afraid the little children go get malnutrition or because no milk and thing. That was the PNM. Everything, the road infrastructure, everything. Yes, it won't up keeping, but it's everything them start. All that happening in Balisay also. Again, people carry and call. Come out on Thursday because we have past 6 in defense of Balisay House. Peaceful. Come out in your red. We outside from long time. Hey, people, have a blessed one. See you all on Friday, God's spare, when I will report to you the events of Friday. No, of Tuesday. And if I can, if I'm in the mood and I feeling too thing, I might bring it live for you to see the crowd down there and thing. Nice vibes, right? It's about Balisay House. Not about Penny. Not about Foster, not about Marvin, not about all them. It's about Balisay House. Yeah? Outside. People love you all. See you all on Friday, God's spare. Be good. Be blessed. And I love you all.